So my question is still the same. I'm asking you to write it in standard form. But before, and we kind of I forgot to do this in example 1. So before you can write it in standard form, you have to decide if it's a linear function. So I see a y, so that's perfect. But over here, I see a 4xy. Now, I didn't mention this when we were talking about it. I told you like no square roots, no x squareds, but you guys, x is also not by itself. It's being multiplied by y. So as soon as you see x, y together, like it's a 4xy, this is not a linear function, so you cannot write it in standard form. Example 1 was a linear function. That's why we could write it. So because x and y are next to each other, that makes it not a linear function. If it was 4 square roots of x, not a linear function. And because it looks like this, we can't move any further. Let's do example 3. So the same thing that we need to talk about is in your head when you look at something, is it a linear function? Because if it's not a linear function, you're not even going to bother writing it in standard form. Now remember what I said. F of x is like a y, so that's good. And then I have 5 over x plus 6. Well, the x is in the denominator. And what do we know about a linear function when x is in the denominator? Right. So someone was like, no, it's not a linear function. That's exactly right. Not a linear function. And it's not a linear function, again, you guys, because the variable x is in the denominator. If it was in the numerator, it would be fine. But because it's in the denominator, it's no longer a linear function. So example 2 and 3, we cannot change them into standard form because they're not a linear function. That doesn't mean they're not a function. It just means that they're not going to be a line. Yes?
Why couldn't it work though? Like just because it's in the denominator?
Because it will be a curve and it won't be a line. Yeah, so it's not. It will be broken up, and we'll learn more about those in like chapter 8. So it might be a line, but it will have a gap, or it's a curved. So it's not a linear function. That's why. It still could be a function. It's just not a linear function. Okay. Example 4. Okay, so I have 3x minus 6y minus 9 equals 0. So 2 and 3, we went to go write it in standard form, but we determined that they were not linear functions. What do we know about example 4? Okay, why can you do that though? Right, but why did you automatically know that we could start moving stuff? Why is it obvious?
Because the x and y are together.
Yes, the x is by itself, the y is by itself, and it's a what?
Linear function.
It's a linear function. Because it's a linear function, we can automatically move it. So we are going to add 9 to both sides. Does this meet the criteria for standard form? A is positive and not a fraction. B is not a fraction. Perfect. So this is in standard form now. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to define A, B, and C. And remember, when you define A, B, and C, A and B, you never take those variables with it. You just take the coefficients. So what is A? What is B? And what is C? Okay. And one more example. Okay. So the first question I'm going to ask you is what? What's the first question?
If it's a linear function.
Is it a linear function?
Yes.
It is. It's in that form. It's already in the form for us, right? ax plus by equals c. Okay, now, you determine it's a linear function. We determine it's in standard form. Does it meet the criteria?
Is it no because it's a decimal?
No, because it's a.
Yep. No, because the a is a decimal, which means it can be written as a fraction. So, 0.2 is written as 2/10. So, 0.2 means 2/10. So, how do I get rid of that 10 so I can make everything, so I can make a not a fraction?
Multiply everything by 10.
Everything by 10. Now, you guys, when we took our first quiz, a lot of you knew that, and you would get rid of the denominator, but you still multiplied the numerator by 10. Remember, you don't. On this one right here, these cancel out, so you're just left with the 2x. Now, everything else would get multiplied by 10. It's just when you multiply the fraction by the denominator, they cancel out. What is 10 times 10? And then 22 times 10. Now there's some people would make you see that they all have a 2 in common. I'm not going to make you do that. I just want you to be able to get it in standard form and then write A, B, and C. So what is A? What is C? Yes, I'm sorry. What is B? B is 100. And then what is C?
220.
And that's it for that.